So there's a story that's told about a very wealthy business person who had 3 children. 3 children. And he was preparing to step down from the day-to-day management of his company, and he thought very carefully, and this is a real-world situation, parents, you could think about this, grandparents. He thought very carefully about which of his 3 children should assume the leadership of his business. Sometimes that happens in family businesses. You got to figure these things out. So he decided to come up with a test to see which child was worthy, which child was ready. And he took his 3 children into a large room, kind of like this room, almost exactly this size actually, and the room was empty. There was nothing in the room. And he said to his children, now 3rd graders, listen carefully. He said to his children, whomever can fill this room from top to bottom will inherit my business empire. And so his firstborn child, named Rachel, got to work immediately. She got bulldozers, she got earth-moving equipment just like we have right now outside as we're building our Aaron Milken Center. She got workmen with shovels, and she filled up bags and bags and bags. These are actually really heavy. Bags and bags and bags with earth. And she brought them in. Is there a chiropractor potentially here? And she brought them into the room, and she filled them up, and it was heavy, back-breaking work. She worked day and night, and guess what? After hours and hours and hours, she still didn't manage to fill all the way up to the top because she got up pretty high, but then when she was climbing up this hill of dirt to try to add more dirt, she just couldn't do it. And so the father cleared the room of dirt and said to the next child, okay, it's your turn. And the second child was named Rafi, and he was given his chance. And he said, you know what, dirt's very heavy, but you know what's not so heavy? Paper. So he went and he got reams and reams and reams of paper. And he took the paper and he started stacking it up, one on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, but he ran out of time. He ran out of time. As much as he tried to build this giant warehouse of paper, he wasn't able to. And so the father cleared the room. And finally, it was the turn of the 3rd child. The 3rd child named Esther. She got her chance. And she seemed very relaxed. She didn't seem to be stressed about this at all. She just took it nice and easy, and she waited until nightfall. And the lights were dimmed in the room. And she came in. This is the lighting cue. The lights were dimmed. Do you see what's happening? Unbelievable. And she came into the room, and she lit a candle. And she lifted the candle up high, and guess what? The entire room was filled with light. And her father was beaming. And he looked at his daughter Esther and said, you're hired. You inherit the empire. Now, this story relates to this week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, the part that I mentioned earlier in our service. The first verse of this week's Torah portion, Ve'ata tetzaveh et bnei Yisrael, and this is God telling Moses, you should instruct the Israelite people, Vayikhu elecha shemen zayit zach katit lamaor laha'alot ner tamid. And you shall take this clear oil of pressed olives, that pressing process that I talked about a little bit earlier, in order to cause the light to go up always, a ner tamid, an eternal light. And this is our sacred task, to fill the world with our light, tamid, always, day by day, hour by hour, and moment by moment. And one of the great Hasidic masters, Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, who was born in 1740, and he died in 1809. And he taught about this verse, this Ner Tamid, the eternal flame. He says, this really is a metaphor. It is not meant to be taken literally. Although we do light a literal candle, that's not how we're supposed to take it. It's a metaphor. What does it mean to be a ner tamid? That is to bring the light up, which represents our desire to get close to God. It expresses the pleasure and the satisfaction that God will realize when we come close to God, when we bring our light into the world. And that is one of the very real ways that we can bring about, and here's the question for you guys, you third graders, and really for everybody, that is one of the ways, according to our tradition, that we can live the mitzvah ve'ahavta et Adonai. You shall love the eternal your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your being. We can bring light into the world, and that's how we love God. And so third graders, and Andre's going to help me here, third graders, I'm going to ask you for examples of how you can bring light into the world. And I see some of you have been thinking about this and you already have some ideas. I'm going to ask you how you can bring light into the world, and you can share it with our entire congregation. And with the help of Andre, we are going to broadcast this all over the world. So you're going to tell me how you can bring light into the world. What's a way that you can bring light into the world?
By being kind to my family.
By being kind to your family. That is beautiful. Amen. What is a way you can bring light into the world?
By giving everyone electricity so they have light.
Oh, there you go. If we could get electricity all over the world, and that's not a trivial thing. If we could make sure everybody had the benefit of electricity, they could have light. That's exactly right. How would you do it?
I would say prayers every night and not litter.
Okay, I like the way you put those two things together. Say prayers every night and also don't litter. Okay, let's hear it from some more voices. Yeah, how would you do it?
Respect each other and be kind.
Respect each other and be kind. Listen to these prayers. This is beautiful. Let's go to the third row here. How would you do it?
Always forgive people and always give them a chance.
Forgive people and give them a chance. So many good ideas. Yeah.
Always throw your trash in trash bins and always say please and thank you.
Trash and trash bins. Please, are people taking notes, by the way? Because so many of things, if we could just do these things, we would be dialed in for good. Yes, how would you do it?
Good deeds and kindness.
Oh my God, good deeds and kindness. Now, question, are there any, I'm Phil Donahueing it right now. Is there anybody who remembers Phil Donahue? Thank you so much. Are there any grown-ups who want to add maybe something you would want us to do to make the world a better place? And we have the Steadicam right here. You too will be broadcast around the world. Who's a brave grown-up who wants to tell us a way that you would bring light into the world? Don't be shy. Andy Sipes, how would you bring light into the world?
When there's a mitzvah to be done, don't wait, don't walk, but run to do it.
Run to do the mitzvah. I love that. One more grown-up. We need one more grown-up right over here, sir. One more grown-up. Andre, stick with me. How would you bring light into the world?
Giving respect to everyone.
Respect to everyone. Let's have a silent round of applause for everybody. Thank you so much. I am so grateful, and thank you, Andre, for your help, and thank you, everybody. Thank you, third graders, for all of your beautiful ideas. There are so many ways that we can bring light into the world. There are so many ways that we can be a ner tamid, that we can be that light. And again, the beautiful thing about it all is that it's tamid. It's something we're supposed to do not one time, not once a week, but every single day throughout our lives.